Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing well and is safe. So let us continue our discussion on the introduction to accounting and its environment. So last time, during our first video presentation, we talked about a lot of things covered in this topic in particular. We talked about the definition of accounting as provided by the Accounting Standards Council and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So basically, in general and in summary, accounting is a service activity because it involves the recording, the classifying, and the summarizing of economic events, which the function of accounting is to provide information which is quantitative in nature for the purpose of helping users of financial information or financial statements in making sound economic decisions. We also talk about the fundamentals of business model and also enumerated the types of businesses and gave a few examples of each. We also talked about the forms of business organizations, which include the sole proprietorship, the partnership, and the corporation. And we also added or covered cooperative. Also, we discussed about the different activities surrounding a business organization, which include operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. We shed light to the very purpose of accounting and enumerated the users of financial information and why they need this financial information. We also talked about the fundamental accounting concepts, the entity concept, the periodicity concept, the stable monetary unit concept, and the going concern. And finally, we briefly discussed the generally accepted accounting principles, which basically include the objectivity principle, historical costs, the revenue and expense recognition principles, the adequate disclosure, the materiality, and the consistency principle. Now, to open this second part of this topic, let us talk about the practice of accountancy in the Philippine setting. Now, the practice of accountancy in the Philippines is governed by Republic Act number 9298, otherwise known as the Philippine Accountancy Act of 2004. Now, uh, you can search this law via Google and read the entire text. But for the sake of this presentation, let us talk about the scope of the practice. There are four fields given in the law which a professional accountant may engage himself with. So as you may see in the video presentation, we have the practice of public accountancy, the practice in commerce and industry, the practice in the education or academe, and the practice in the government. So let's start with the practice of public accountancy. What constitutes a practice of public accountancy? Now, according to the law, it shall constitute in a person, may it be in his individual capacity, meaning he is practicing as an individual practitioner, or as a partner or a staff member in an accounting or auditing firm. So a CPA may also be employed as a partner or as a staff member in an accounting or auditing firm, holding out for himself as one skilled in the knowledge, science, and practice of accounting, and as a qualified person to render professional services as a certified public accountant, or offering or rendering or both to more than one client on a fee basis or otherwise. Services such as auditing or the verification of financial statements, the preparation, signing, or certification of financial reports, the design, installation, and revision of accounting systems, the preparation of income tax returns, and also representing the client before a government agency, which may involve issues concerning tax. For example, Okay, so the practice of public accountancy is not only confined with auditing. Okay, because a few people may consider only the practice of public accountancy as confined with the rendering of auditing services, but it's not the case. Okay, the practice of public accountancy, as long as you offer your services, you open your services as a certified public accountant to the public, offering accounting services, auditing services, or taxation services whatsoever, then you are in the field of public accountancy. Next, the practice in commerce and industry. It shall constitute in a person involved in decision making, requiring professional knowledge in the science of accounting, or when such employment or position requires that the holder thereof must be a certified public accountant. Now, in the practice of commerce and industry, a certified public accountant is actually employed in a private company or corporation, serving as an accountant. Okay? So that CPA is involved also in decision making, or he may assist in decision making. For as long as you are employed as a certified public accountant in a private company or corporation, may it be a pharmaceutical one, may it be in an automobile company, may it be in what you call this, a other multi-million peso corporation, for as long again as you are as for as long as you are employed in that private company or corporation as a certified public accountant, then you are within the ambit of practicing in the commerce and industry. Next, we have the practice in the education or academe. Simply, this constitutes person in an educational institution, a certified public accountant teaching in an educational institution, which involved teaching accounting, auditing, management advisory services, finance, business law, taxation, and other technically similar or related subjects. Simple lang, CPA CAD and you are a teacher, teaching subjects which are related to your profession. Lastly, practice in the government. Okay, this shall constitute in a person who holds or is appointed to a position in an accounting professional group in the government. So you are working as a certified public accountant. In other words, you are holding a position, okay, which requires a certified public accountant qualification in a government agency or a government-owned and controlled corporation. Then again, even though you are what you call this, you are holding a position which does not require a CPA license, for as long as you are for as long as that position requires professional knowledge in the science of accounting, then you can be considered as an accountant practicing in the government. So now let us proceed with the Code of Ethics for certified public accountants in the CPA. I mean, certified public accountants in the Philippines. Now, once you are admitted to the CPA profession or to the accountancy profession, you must always take into account, you must always keep in mind, you must always keep in mind the following code of ethics: integrity, objectivity, professional competence in due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Now, you must always remember that the accountancy profession is a very prestigious profession. One very important thing to note is that the accountancy profession is not only answerable to one person. Say, for instance, you're a CPA and you have a client. You are not only accountable to that very client. You are bound to answer for the public. You must render your services with public interest in mind. That is why you should observe always, once you get into the profession, once you get admitted into the profession, you must always take into account this code of ethics. What is integrity? Integrity entails being straightforward and honest. So a professional accountant should always be after truth. In other words, pag sinabi nating integrity, you must stick with your principles as an accountant. You must stick with the standards. You must adhere with the morals and ethic. You must adhere with morality and good ethics. It must be uncompromising. You should not be easily swayed by other people. And therefore, you must not be, what you call this, you must not be associated with matters which will disparage the profession. A very good example of which is you are going to vouch for the accuracy or the fair presentation of financial statements even though you know that it is not. Maybe you know of a material information that has been omitted, but nevertheless you ignored. Probably because your morals or your principles have been compromised by someone or have been influenced by someone. So integrity again entails being straightforward, adherence to what is the truth, being honest, and not being associated with malpractice. Next is objectivity. Now simply, pag sinabi nating objectivity, in a circular definition, you must not be subjective. You base your findings, you render your services based on the outcome. Say, for instance, in auditing, you must render an opinion based on sufficient and appropriate evidences. You must not have a conflict of interest with your clients. Again, a very good example is in auditing. Halimbawa, you are engaged by a company to render auditing services. And yung presidente pala ng company yun, best friend mo. Okay? That will compromise, of course, your objectivity. There is a conflict of interest. Next, professional competence and due care. Pag sinabi naman nating professional competence and due care, dito muna tayo sa una, professional competence. Your learning should not stop, okay, the moment you pass the CPA board examination. Of course, there is attainment of knowledge or professional competence, but also, you must make sure that you maintain such professional competence. Kaya meron tayong continuing professional development or education. We must continue to learn as professional accountants because, as you may know, standards are constantly changing, constantly adapting. So, of course, you must acquaint yourself with whatever changes there are. Also, taxation laws. Before, we follow strictly the NIRC. Now, we have the train law. Okay, you cannot stay with the full-blown text of the NIRC when there is an amendment already in the form of train law and also the create law. Professional due care. You should not be reckless. Ano? In rendering your services, you must always render it professionally by giving the right amount of attention, exerting the right amount of effort, and giving the right amount of time in order for you to complete your services without delay and with certainty as to the quality of what you have rendered. Next, we have confidentiality. This is very simple. You do not disclose publicly material information or confidential information disclosed by your client with you. Okay? But it does not only stop there. You should not always use you should not also use confidential information for your personal advantage. So you must respect as a professional accountant confidentiality of information and do not use such collected or gathered information for your personal benefit or advantage. Lastly, professional behavior. So as a professional accountant, you must abide with the laws. You must act according to the code of ethics. And also, may I add, professional behavior also encompasses being humble about what you can really give. Okay? You do not over exaggerate or you do not overestimate what you can give. Okay? Kung ano lang yung kaya mong gawin, that is what you offer. You should not also be involved in what you call this, comparing yourself with others. Okay? Because that is most especially if you compare yourself as an accountant to others without any substantial information or substantial evidence to support your claim, that is unlikely. Or what I mean is that is unbecoming of a professional accountant. Okay? So again, integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. So branches of accounting. So we have several branches of accounting. First one, we have auditing. Okay? Auditing refers to the, what you call this, the verification of the financial statements by examining the financial statements and or what I mean is auditing is the independent examination of the financial statements. Okay? Based on or with the outcome of providing an opinion based on the verification of appropriate and substantial evidence with reference to an established criteria. So in other words, we are going to examine a financial statement, but auditing is not only confined with the audit of financial statements. It will also include internal auditing also, which is bigger in coverage. But to confine auditing into one that is rendered by the external auditor, external audit involves the examination of the financial statements of a company, okay, and forming an opinion, audit opinion based on appropriate and substantial evidence, sufficient and appropriate evidence, and with reference to an established criteria. And what are these established criteria? Accounting standards, Philippine accounting standards, the Philippine financial reporting standards, even laws. Okay? So we auditors provide an opinion whether or not the financial statements are fairly presented basing on the gathered evidence, which the evidence should be appropriate and sufficient, and with reference to an established criteria. In this case, we have the Philippine Accounting Standards, the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, and we also take into consideration, of course, relevant laws such as tax laws. But again, auditing is not only confined on external auditing. There is also what we call internal auditing, which the function of internal auditing includes, of course, the fair presentation of the financial statements, compliance of the company to laws, and also the improvement or enhancement of operations. Okay? Next, we have, but there are also other aspects of auditing, which you will discuss when you reach your auditing subject. Also, we have the bookkeeping. So, bookkeeping involves the collection of recordable financial transactions. Then we journalize them into the book of accounts, we post them, we classify them, and we summarize them to form financial statements. Also, we have the cost accounting. Now, cost accounting is more on catering to the financial information needs of internal users or users internal to the company. Now, cost accounting is more on analyzing the costing of the products, accounting for the costing of the products. Now, you will take this in your cost accounting subject. Also, we have the financial accounting, or that which is produces information for external users naman, as opposed to cost accounting and management accounting, which are more on providing information to internal users. Now, financial accounting is produces general financial reports, which are intended to apprise external users, such as creditors, suppliers, the government, etc. Now we also have financial management. This financial management naman is more on the analysis of financial decision making, especially in investing, in the actual allocation of financial resources. So financial management basically is focused on managing the finances of the company. As opposed to accounting, accounting in general is more on financial statement preparation and reporting. But financial management is considered also as a branch of accounting, as both of which relates to one another. We also have management accounting. So management accounting constitutes also cost accounting. We also have management accounting. Now, management accounting covers cost accounting as well. Now, as I have said earlier, management and cost accounting caters financial information to users internal to the company, such as specifically the management. So, in management accounting, we do not also, in comparison with financial accounting, we do not only consider financial information, but also we take into account non-financial information in decision making. Next, we have taxation. This is one of the inherent powers of the government. Now, in taxation, the sovereign, through its lawmaking body, collects taxes to help the government in its multifarious activities. you will take up taxation in your higher year or higher years. Lastly, we have the government accounting. Now, this is the application of the accounting in the government sector. Although in the government they follow a different accounting standards. We have the so-called PPSAS. Now you will have your government accounting subject in the coming years, so you will be able to know the coverage of government accounting. So that basically ends this second part on the introduction to accounting and its environment. Thank you very much.